deck switch is one of the most powerful moves in a cheater's arsenal. The chances of you seeing one of the quality I'm about to show you now, very slim, but I will tell you what happens in most games when somebody wants to switch decks at your table. Now, I've used this move many times on The Real Hustle. It was one of the moves I used to make sure that Alex and I stayed in the game, whether we were using marked cards or switching cards in another fashion. I would usually get our chips up by putting in a couple of coolers. And I would use the type of deck switches that we're doing here. For example, if we had the cards out and I was offered the cut by another player, as I made the cut, I would exchange the two decks. If I was, for example, given a deck of cards to deal, I would hand it out for the cut, and as I picked it up for the deal, I would make the switch, in this case trading the blue cards for the red cards. I should point out here, of course, that in a typical game, a cheater does not use different colored cards unless he wants to go to the jail or the hospital. The cards are identical to the ones that are in play. If you've ever seen the movie The Sting, you will remember Robert Shaw pulling a deck switch at the table. And the one he did is excellent. As he picks up the deck and gives it a cut, he switches the cards like this. In most cases, when you ask for a new deck, if the cheater is sitting in the dealer's spot, he'll take a new deck out. It'll be set up to create a cooler, but he won't bother showing the cards to everyone. He'll just begin shuffling. Normally, you're supposed to spread the cards and show that there's ace to king of hearts, ace to king of clubs, spades, and diamonds, making it easy to know that all the cards are there, and then you begin shuffling. But if the deck is preset, what you do is you false shuffle. You give the deck a series of shuffles, but you do not disturb the cards that will deliver the winning hands. That's called the slug. So if the slug is protected and you deal out, you're guaranteed to win, but the suckers are guaranteed to think that they can win. So they're given hands that make them think that they've got a really good chance, and they draw them into the pot. So it's not just about giving yourself a winning hand, it's also about making sure the other people play. In other games like blackjack, outside deck switches have been known where players come in, they make a cut, and they trade 1, 2, even 8 decks under different strategies. Those are very different to what you would see at a card game. I've used the deck switch when playing gin. It's a great way of ringing in a deck at the right moment to get myself ahead of the other player, and that advantage can be played for a very long time. And many times deck switches are used without a setup. You just switch in a marked deck. And you can do that without having to do one of these sleight of hand switches. And while these sleight of hand switches do look really cool, it's very unusual to see somebody who uses something like this under fire. Now, having done it many times, I'm a big fan of these. I collect these moves like I collect gambling devices. But if you ever suspect that someone has switched decks, it's probably already too late, and you're already in the game, and you've already lost your money. Doesn't matter how close you watch these. If it's in the hands of an expert, you won't see a thing.